Hello friends, and also hello enemies. Many moons back, many moons back, we reviewed TBLeague Phison Anubis, and today we are back with that line with Horus. So this is a 1/12 scale figure. They also have a version that's 1/6 scale, but that is a little bit too big and expensive for us, so we just get the little guys. Here is the Anubis, just to give you an example, and I will bring him back in later to do size comparison. But yeah, so it's got a metal skeleton, seamless body. He's collected quite a bit of dust, but you get the idea. Horus should be more or less like this. The packaging on this is the same packaging as we got with the Anubis. Just a gray, very opaque, only slightly translucent box with some very hard to make out images on the side. I think the function of this box is less to show you what's in the box and more to protect what's in the box. I guess they assume you already know what you're in for. So there were two versions. I forgot which version we got. One was silver and one was gold. It looks like we got the gold version. And the body in there is looking a little bit dusty already. It's probably just talcum powder or some other thing that they kind of sprinkled over the body to make sure it didn't stick or get sweaty or anything. It's been a while since the Anubis review, so I don't remember if it was the same kind of deal where its parts and pieces weren't attached yet. But yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to put everything on him. I'm gonna have to wait until I do have everything on him, because just looking at this at a cursory glance, I kind of wish we'd gotten the silver instead. We'll see how much I regret this. So after you've got all those bits out, there's a second little foam insert in there in which he's got some extra stuff. He's got this staff, he's got some cloth goods, he's got a sword, so I will also pull these out. There was a definite smell. There was a smell that wafted out of here as I opened it. Like, not when I opened the box, but when I removed that first foam insert, the smell that came up from this one was just indescribable. Like a poison of some sort. And we've got a stand in here. I forget how much stuff comes with these guys. It's so funny that the desiccant gets its own little cutouts in there. Alright, so he's very dark. I hope he's showing up on camera okay. And as you can see, I already had him on his stand because he doesn't stand up on his own all that well. It's okay. He does have big bird feet, which I approve of, but they are fairly narrow, so he'll plant alright, but his upper body is a little bit heavy, and that drags him down a bit. Another thing that you might notice is that his armbands and his shin guards are a little lower down than they should be. There's a reason for that. So before you put the shin guards and the armbands on, you're supposed to put these pieces of cloth underneath them. This is made of a rubbery, squishy material, and there is a ton of friction when you're trying to pull cloth up over it. They dusted him with baby powder a little bit to try and mitigate that, I think, but it wasn't nearly enough because I had a heck of a time even pulling them up this far, and they just won't go any further. Like, I'm sure they're supposed to be up more, but I just can't. I can't do it. Not without dousing him in baby powder, probably. I went back to my Anubis video, and he came with this stuff on already. So I don't know why they decided to change it. Maybe they had issues with the material, like interacting poorly with the fabric just sitting in the box for long periods of time. I don't know. So yeah, I'm sorry if that bothers anyone, because let me tell you, it bothers me too, but I can't really do anything about it right now. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more I wish we had gotten the silver one. The silver one is basically just the same. It's got the same body, but I think it's got a white loincloth and like white silver accents on its regalia, and its mouth is open. This is just a lot of dark. And Anubis is pretty dark too. His skin tone was even darker, but he had a lot of white to balance it out. Usually I like black and gold quite a lot, but I just think in this case, the silver would be better, just to add more pop to the figure. His beak is so sharp. Ow. That beak is honestly dangerous. You could hurt someone with that. You see? You see what it did to my fingy? I like the head sculpt for him. Very intricate. It looks a little bit more biomechanical than Anubis did. Anubis looks like a jackal, whereas this looks like almost a predator type deal. Is it the dreads? Also, I hate to keep comparing the two, but I'm going to because Anubis is pretty much the only comparison I have to draw from, but Anubis came with a lot more stuff, I feel like. There's more accoutrements on him, whereas this guy didn't really come with much. This one should have the same articulation. It's that same metal skeleton under this fleshy material. You have to be careful because if you bend the skeleton a certain way, it might break. So they give you a guide of all the things that you are allowed to do. A little diagram of where all the points of flexibility are. It looks like it's got a shoulder drop. You can make the arms broad or less broad. This guy has pretty broad shoulders already. Do we need his shoulders to be more broad? I don't think so. They've got a drop down and a lower, apparently. Ooh, I can feel the armature up here. It feels very close to the skin. I really don't want to poke the armature through the skin. So yeah, it's got pretty good articulation as long as you are very careful. Definitely want to keep a good grip on it while you're moving it around. Just keep feeling that internal skeleton, make sure nothing is being stressed. With the head, there's not as much to worry about because it's just this head on a ball joint. So there's less chance for breakage as long as you are gentle. As far as heads go, it can't really do much. It's just that these dreads are so long, so he doesn't get much range of motion. Leg out, to the side, and back. He's very acrobatic. You've got some twist. Once again, sorry for the misaligned shin guards. It does bother me. The feet look a little disconnected. You can see the metal skeleton through the ankle and into the foot. I didn't really have that problem with Anubis because he didn't have bare feet, and also his foot shape is more accepting of this little dip in the shin guard here. These are bird feet, so they're just kind of like flat. Though I do like that he has bird feet. I applaud that decision. They weren't cowards. They went all out with the bird feet. The pattern on the fabric is beautiful. It's even on these little strips that I struggled to put on his arms. The fabric itself is thick but gauzy, so I keep having threads coming out of it. He has the stand, which we saw. It's got a flexible rod back here and these little dealies. So he doesn't come with as much stuff as Anubis did, but he does come with some things. And we'll start with hands. He's got a pair of curling hands of claws, vicious bird hand talons, and he's got holding things hands or pinching hands, doing like this. He'll come with a cloak, very interesting pattern on the interior. It's a satiny material on the interior, kind of a more of that gauzy material on the back with more of that pattern. The pattern looks more like a Greco-Roman than it does Egyptian, but what do I know? I'm not a historian. It's also collared with some very smooth fur. Like, this feels like real fur. I don't know if it is or not, but it's very soft. It's like rabbit fur or squirrel fur. He'll come with a sword, a scimitar. Looks very cool. I love the paint on that. I love the bright blue gem in the middle. And this was collapsed inside the packaging. These two sections were separate for packing purposes, but then when you attach them together, you have a really cool staff with an ankh in the middle. Once again, the paint on that is really cool. The shaft looks a little bit weathered, but that's it for accessories. So like I touched upon earlier, the silver version of this came with a mouth open head, and I wish that both versions had come with both heads because you don't get much with him, and I think to make up for that, another head would be great. Another head with the mouth open. You see what I mean about these threads? They just keep coming out. I don't remember if this cost more or less than Anubis. It probably cost more because we got Anubis quite a while ago. That was a few years back, and toy companies have only risen their prices since then. Ooh. Yeah, it's hard to get these hands on when you have these gauntlets on. They want to kind of push them forward. Come on. How about you? Are you going to give me a problem? No? Okay. Hands are fairly rubbery, so... Oh. Okay, maybe the tactic is... Oh, come on. Maybe the tactic is to put... Well, this is rubbery too. Okay, tactic is to put the handle into, there we go. Oh, can you guys tell I'm having a bad time? Okay. Alright, now get in there. Alright. So we got that done. Maybe we'll collapse this and just slide it into his hand. So there will be no moving of the fingers. gonna go crazy. I'm going crazy. Yeah. I'm not having fun with this one. I remember liking Anubis a lot and not having this much trouble, but this one... Oh, come on, dude. Are you serious right now? The hands just want to pop out so easily. Just gently, okay. I mean, yeah, he looks really cool. It's just a little hard to see him because he's so dark. But hopefully he comes across well enough. Let's just look at him next to Anubis for a moment. So yeah, Anubis, actually these look like different bodies. I thought they would be the same bodies, but I think they're different. I think this one must be updated. It looks buffer, but somehow more realistic, just smoother. It doesn't have these exaggerated muscles like Anubis does. So the body, I think, is updated. But do you see what I mean? Anubis, even though he has a slightly darker skin tone, there's a lot of other like different colors, more stuff going on that draws more visual interest to the figure, whereas this is kind of like a black mass. When I was a kid, I used to have a Scottish Terrier, and it was impossible to take pictures of her. She was just like this black furry being in the photos, and that's what this reminds me of. Just kind of like a void. But like I said, the silver one, I think, would probably be better about that, because there'd just be more visual interest and lighter colors to kind of keep it from being so homogeneous. But yeah, Anubis has a lot more going on. I forget what else he came with, but he came with more than just the staff and the ankh, I think. Unless I'm totally wrong. I really can't remember. But even then, he's got all sorts of cool details like these piercings. He's got this awesome headdress. He's got these chains on the side of his loincloth. And yeah, like I said, these armband parts and the fabric under his shin guards was already on, so I didn't have to struggle with it. But I mean, they look really cool together. I do wish we'd gotten the silver one though. It kind of bothers me that they don't really match. I just wish Horus had some white on his outfit. So these are 1/12 scale figures, so they should fit in with Mezco's 1/12 collective. Here is Doc Nocturnal. Not the new version, but the older kind of svelte, slender version, so you can see how they stack up. Here is the new Spin Master Aloy, and she's a pretty small scale figure, but I think they look pretty good together. I mean, you would think that an Egyptian god would be taller than a 19, 20-year-old. Also, this wouldn't be the first time that Aloy's encountered a Horus. Here we've got Hasbro Indiana Jones, and that does not look bad at all. They could definitely face off. In fact, they kind of complement each other a little bit, don't they? Here is Four Horsemen's Anubis and Bastet. I wouldn't say they scale perfectly with him, but it's not bad at all. I don't think he would look strange among your Egyptian deity shelf, if you've got one. Scale isn't quite there for a Mythic Legion, but it's not terrible. He looks a little small, but who's to say that a god can't be small? I assume they can shapeshift. And last, the boy's so big he can't even fit into frame. Let's see if I can get him into focus. We've got Conchu from the Moon Knight show. I have him sitting by the TV in my office, but I never turn on that TV, so I kind of don't ever look over where he is. So I forgot I had him. One of these definitely looks more menacing than the other when you have them side by side. So yeah, am I disappointed? I think a little bit. I think if I didn't have Anubis and didn't already love Anubis, then I wouldn't be disappointed. And I hate to keep going back to Anubis, but he's just, in my opinion, better than this one. He does make a very striking figure when you have the cloak on though. Though in addition to the threads on the fabric, this fluff or feathers or whatever it is also comes off really easily. So I'm getting just a lot of shedding from this guy. But yeah, I think I like him better with the cloak on. Going back to that whole discussion about visual interest, I think this adds some much needed visual interest to kind of draw your eye inward. I still do think that we should have gotten the silver one. I don't know. I thought I would like this one better, but I think I was wrong. I'm often wrong. But as I said, it's not bad at all. It's just compared to Anubis, which is probably one of my favorite figures that I have. It's really hard to compete. So that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome, and I will see you guys on the next one.